it's super important because, when you chat with people about money, and this is including me, we don't even know what money is. Like, what is money backed by?
Yeah.
And so people don't even know what our money's backed by. So if you're in debt, that means you have no money,
Yeah.
right?
Welcome to the Moon with the Lunas podcast, where we are going to be breaking down Bitcoin for real couples and real life.
My name's Anthony, and I love Bitcoin.
And I'm Danielle, and I know nothing about Bitcoin, and I am learning right alongside with all of you. Today, we're going to just be chatting with you guys, kind of discussing some of the reasons why we wanted to start this podcast, go into a little of our Bitcoin story, and also share why money is such an important discussion to have in your relationships. Yeah, we're gonna be actually using our phones as notes today because we want to make sure we touch on particular things that are going to be helpful and we can help us stay on track because we don't want this to be like an hour and a half a podcast. So Ant, why do you think we started this podcast?
Well, a couple main reasons why we wanted to was we want to teach people about Bitcoin and share people about Bitcoin. It affects us in our everyday lives and we don't even know it. And so another main reason is I wanted to do this with my wife. I think it's very important to do things as a unit, whether it's a podcast, whether it's running a business, whether it's parenting, etc. I do think it's very important because in a traditional household, we leave each other for like 8+ hours a day, right? But just how to navigate that space because everybody's navigating Bitcoin at a different pace,
Yeah.
right? And so, what it is the other spouse in the relationship when someone's like hardcore Bitcoin or someone's just getting their feet wet or it's like someone's negative about it, like we want to tackle all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why we had this podcast.
Yeah. And I would also add to that we were already having conversations together in the evenings oftentimes where we would catch up on our day and then I would ask him like, oh, how much is Bitcoin, today? I think that I don't even know if that's the right terminology, but how much is it worth today? Maybe that's the word. I don't know. But so we would talk about those things and I felt like we weren't the only couples that were having those conversations. And so when Anthony and I were kind of discussing, how could maybe potentially starting a podcast, how could it be helpful? And I think hearing so much from the X community that you have built on X, like just seeing that we can always learn from each other, no matter, if it's couples or singles. It's great to hear it from different perspectives. And so I think that was one of the things that kind of like pulled me into wanting to start this. And asking silly questions is definitely going to be something that I will be doing. And Anthony will be hopefully answering all my silly questions and many of you too. So yeah, that's kind of why we wanted to start this podcast.
I think it's at the end of the day, just sharing people about some basic common terms and then having some deep dive conversations as well. But I think it'll be great just hearing from other people as well. We're looking forward to some guests that we already have locked in and we'll get to that in a little later. But so really excited and pumped up doing this with you. It's gonna be fun.
I'm excited.
Let's just kind of dive into some stuff.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you start. How did you first get into Bitcoin?
Yeah, so there was it's a great question. So there was a few things that kind of that kind of stuck with me really. So it started back when I was a loan officer in real estate. I'd ended up doing in the mortgage industry for 10+ years. It was great, loved it, met some awesome people there. I believe it was like in 2019. I was helping somebody do their loan and they actually had like $1 million plus in a cryptocurrency. And it was like Doge, it was like Ethereum, it was like AVAX, it was Bitcoin. It was all types of stuff. And then I remember like calling the underwriter and I was like, hey, are we actually verifying this as like real assets? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, what? Like, I was just blown away by that, right?
I actually remember you making that call. I don't know how, because we were.
Yeah, it was just something that I was like, it was like, whoa, like, you always see about it and hear about it like in YouTube videos and stuff like that. But when you're actually like working with it and then you're like, wow, this is real. And so it just kind of hit different. And then fast forward in 2020, market crashed, and I was like, man, like I know this is a great buying opportunity when it comes to buying assets, but I had no idea how to like buy assets or anything like that, like stocks or anything. But I just knew when it all crashed, I was like, this is all gonna go back up, right? And sure enough, it did. They pumped money into the economy. And the printer went on and everything just skyrocketed, right? Everybody made money. And when it came to so I ended up buying a course from this guy named Chris Johnson, amazing guy. He had an impact on my journey. And yeah, so I ended up buying one of his courses. Didn't even like do nothing with it, right? And because I was just so deep into loans, right? Rates were low. And so that was in 2020. And then fast forward later, Bitcoin, I always kind of watch Bitcoin's price kind of go up and down, and was just buying stuff here and there, right? And so it was probably like in 2022. I remember like the guy again, Chris, he was just like putting out some powerful tweets, and like he was just like sending videos to everybody, and he was sending videos of like, hey, watch this hidden secrets of money. And I was like, what? And then so I was like, I always had a lot of respect for Chris because he made money in like different avenues. He was successful in every avenue. He had rental
Like,
incomes.
yeah.
He had stock. He killed it in the stocks. He killed it in like crypto and Bitcoin, and even had a watch business. You just like you gotta have respect for people. I think people that are like I love learning from people that
Right.
have results. It was kind of spread out. I
Right.
was like, man, like, and he was killing it in all of them. And so then what happened was like watching him, I'd watch his YouTube videos and his tweets and stuff like that. And he would always recommend books, and he would always recommend like these YouTube videos. And so I was, and then I was always buying here and there, and like, lost, I would buy some altcoins too. Cause again, going back to that one time with that guy, I was like, oh, this might blow up, whatever.
Coin, just real quick.
Coins are basically poop. Okay, it's
Oh.
poop. It's basically there's Bitcoin, and then you hear like all these other coins, and it's just poop. Like, just if you are strong enough, and if you see this podcast and you're just getting into Bitcoin, like all these other things, just like don't even look at it,
They are
right?
poop.
Yeah, they're poop. They're like
Oh,
just a
don't
waste
use
of
that.
time. It's a waste of money. It's basically anything that's not Bitcoin is gambling. Let's just say
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Anything that's not Bitcoin, you're gambling.
Okay. I didn't mean to
No, that
interrupt
was
you,
your
but I
great.
wanted to understand. I was like, altcoin is not, are the just
It's
like
poop.
other
Just
cryptocurrencies.
if you're listening to this, it's poop.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. What were you talking about?
So just watching his journey, and then he was very it was great. Just watching him, and then he dove into Bitcoin. He kept posting more videos while he was going down the rabbit hole, and then I was going down the rabbit hole, and I was like, wow. There's a lot of things that we'll tackle in future episodes, but once you see something, you can't unsee it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's very important when you're doing your research and you're doing your work. Like, it's just hard to like just overlook it.
Yeah.
And then you're like everything is like about Bitcoin, and like how it can lead us back to Bitcoin, and like how Bitcoin can like actually fix everything.
Right.
And people can hear that statement, and you'll be like, what are you talking about? Like Bitcoin can fix everything. Yeah, it can fix wars. I can go on and on, but I'll leave it there.
Yeah. And I'll just share my Bitcoin story, which is not long. It's just been more so the fact that I've seen Anthony like really educate himself, and I kind of let him take the lead on this with our family. I kind of took the back burner, and I trusted that whatever he was doing was moving our family forward, and I totally still fully trust that as well. But yeah, I was, as I would ask questions in the evening, like when we would catch up, it was always like, I was curious, but I was like, can I add another educational something into my brain right now? Like, can I actually, in this season of life that we have, learn more? But it's so important for us to be on the same page. And not that we aren't, but I wasn't really diving in with him. So I would see him reading books. I would see him listening to podcasts. I would see him all of those things. And then he would send me things, and I was like, send me basic, so I can at least take little breadcrumbs rather than like a full loaf to my face. I cannot take that much information right now in this season of life. And that's why, if we can take bits and pieces, these little breadcrumbs as we're, learning together, it's going to be super helpful. So yeah, that's kind of my Bitcoin story. And like Anthony said, we're going to dive a little bit more into other, um, maybe Bitcoin 101 for me is to understand it better. And then just to kind of go into our next portion of this, why is money such an important part of discussing in relationships? I kind of want to start on, money is such a big conversation when you're in a relationship, and it's probably one of the biggest things that people argue or disagree on or divorce on. Fortunately, the most, it's like within top 5 for sure. And when I was reading that, I was not surprised. And just to share like a little bit of my background, grew up in an upper middle class family, had more than we needed probably, but come from a very hardworking parents. But one of the things that I will share is that oftentimes there was disagreements regarding money in our home, which is a normal thing for sure. And that's their story to tell. That's, they did the best they could with what they knew, right? So I'm not putting my parents down. They did amazing. I think I turned out okay.
They're great.
They're amazing. So, but what I wanted to add to that is having that background, I knew that it was always really important to discuss how you wanted to handle your finances in your relationships moving forward. And that was something significant that I wanted to make sure was communicated clearly when I got married. And so when Anthony and I finally got married, we have been together a very long time. We've been together 15 years, married
Yeah.
six
Yeah,
and a half.
I had a lot of growing up to do. I was very immature.
We both did. So it's not a big deal. We'll share more about our relationships if in the future probably. But I wanted to make sure that I was financially stable. I was more literate than, learned more financial literacy before we got married. So I paid off all my debt. Thankfully, I didn't have a ton. I did get an athletic college scholarship, so that was really helpful. Anthony did too, but, living life, can add debt pretty quickly. So that was one of my main focuses, was to make sure before we got married to not have any debt. So that's kind of like my background of why money was such an important part of our relationship and why I felt like it was such an important thing to discuss. Anthony had a very different upbringing than I did. Do you want to share?
I do. A little bit about my background. So I was raised by a single mom. She was amazing. My dad was still around, just wasn't always there. Everybody has their own story, right? I love my dad. I talk to him all the time. Like he's a great person. And my mom raised me and me and my sister by herself. And she just did whatever she can. She was a go-getter. She was a hard worker.
She's amazing.
And yeah, she's amazing. And so, Mom, if you're listening to this, I love you. Anyways, but she did the best that she can. It was a up and down upbringing, moving to place sometimes. But it was like, I really think that it really was a huge advantage to me in my life because I know this is going to sound weird for a lot of people or odd, but coming from nothing and everything else that you get now, you appreciate everything in your life or every extra or whatever it is that you get. You just have so much appreciation for it, and it doesn't. And then and I think that's very great because sometimes it's so easy in the world that we live in now. Like everything's instant, right? Or we got to get this, we got to get that, or we have like this consumer mindset. But when you have something, when you're growing up and then you get, something here and there, or someone shows you love or someone gives you something, you really show appreciation for it. And it goes a long way when you can appreciate it. Right. And so I think, yeah, so it was great. I wouldn't change anything the way I grew up. And so I think that was huge for me. Let me see, I wrote some notes here. I want to make sure I get this, but
Oh, yeah. So, why should we be talking about money in our relationships? What were some things that, you noticed as we were growing up, and now, hindsight, 2020, we can look back and go, actually, these things aren't even discussed, these important concepts
yeah,
that we were talking about.
really important to talk about money because number one, we don't learn about it in school in our education system. Not getting any teachers
So
out
true.
there. My wife's a teacher. She has a lot of family that are teachers, and there's nothing, but we just do not learn about money. We do not learn about investing. We do not learn how to start a business. We do not learn about taxes. We do not learn how to, I'm always blown away on like how people don't know how to buy a house, right? Because the goal is for everyone to own a house one day. So why do we not ever teach that in schools, right? We spend, we take out loans, like, and we never get a budgeting class, a tax,
Yeah.
interest rates, right? How does interest rates work on your home, on your auto loans, credit? Oh my God, credit is so goofy. The people that give us, I'm just going to add this, the people that give us credit scores are like 36 trillion, 37 trillion dollars in debt.
That
And
is
it's
such a
like,
such a
it's so weird. And if you pay off your, like, this is how goofy this, just by this one statement will tell you how goofy credit is. If you get a loan and you pay it off, well, we'll say a credit card, we'll keep it simple. If you get a credit card and you pay it off, like that hurts your credits, and you close the account, that hurts your credit score.
makes no sense.
That makes zero
No
sense. It
sense.
should be like you should be your rating should go through the roof. But
Right.
again, they need to keep us in debt, right?
Yeah.
And so we need to always like be in debt.
I know
Right?
everyone
Like,
used to
credit
always say,
system.
make sure you build your credit. And I'm like,
What? I don't want
a credit
I'd rather
card.
just buy everything.
Cash.
Yeah.
Like if I don't have money, I'm not gonna buy it.
But yeah, so again, that's a little spiel, but people have IRAs, 401ks, annuities, like Roths, like all of these financial instruments, and we're never taught anything, right? And so it's very important to learn about money, right? And so going back to money, it's like even taxes. I don't even know if I mentioned taxes, but like even taxes and write-offs and how to like, the tax codes and stuff like that, how to take advantage of it. But even going back to money, it's super important because, when you chat with people about money, and this is including me, right?
Yeah.
And like, I thought like, we don't even know what money is. Like, what is money backed by? A lot of people don't even know what money's backed. Though, and some people will say gold, and like, yeah, it used to like a long time ago,
Right.
and so people don't even know what our money's backed by.
I didn't know.
Yeah, and so
Believe me.
like, it's backed by, right now, our money is backed by good faith and government credit. And our government credit is about $37 trillion in debt. So if you're in debt, that means you have no money. That's like 101 common sense 101. So if we're $37 trillion in debt, that means we have no money.
Yeah.
And so we just keep printing money. And it was so funny because growing up my whole life, my mom would be like, I would like want some new cleats or something for football. And she'd be like, what do you think? Like, I'm like, money's made on trees. Like, what do you think? And money just grows on trees. And actually, money grows way faster than trees. Like, when you study money, it's like a printer, and it just will print.
Yeah.
Like, they will print so much money, and they're gonna print so much money. And that's another conversation. It's
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The only reason I'm saying it's crazy is because we've had these conversations in the past where like he'll be talking about this, and I'm like, so how are people getting this money? And he's like, they print it. And I was like, wait, so just someone's just going
pushing the button? Yeah, and it'll just print so much money, and it's like,
it's wild to me.
It's laughable because like we pay taxes, right? And we trade our most precious commodity, our time, right?
For money.
We leave our family for the dollar, right? And so, but what is the dollar? Like, what is it backed by? Like, does it hold any value? And like, the dollar is losing value every single day, and it's down like ever since 2020 when they printed out all these COVID checks. I always like to say like money was just coming from the sky because basically what happened was people were just getting paid for doing nothing. When you get paid for doing nothing, or you're getting a bigger check for being unemployed, again, some jobs, whatever it was, right? The pandemic, I don't want to go into that, but what I'm trying to say is that when people are just getting money for doing nothing, they don't it doesn't hold any value, right? And people don't value anything that's free. They just spent it, right?
Correct.
They just spent it. And so
there's no integrity. There's
behind it, and so then you're just like, oh, like I got this, like I'll just go buy this, these pair of jeans or these shoes or these PlayStations or whatever it is, right? And I'm not knocking you for that. All I'm saying is that this podcast just wants to bring light to where we're headed, right? And what is Bitcoin, what is money, and how to navigate it with your couple. And just to, and it's okay, right? If you're going at a different pace, just like get off of zero, and we'll go over that stuff. But yeah, so it's just very important because we're never taught it. But when we hit the ground running and we all graduate school, and if you go to school, we have these loans too, right? That's another thing, right? And so
Yeah.
it's just like we're in a hole right when we graduate,
Yeah.
right when we come out of school. Like we're in this huge hole. Like it's okay to like get people like these 100,000. They can pull loans at 18 and don't
Right.
even know what they want to do. It's like you're still a baby at 18, even at 22. But see, this is what's so great, and this is what like Bitcoin has such clarity because like government, Democrat, Republican, Independent, it doesn't matter what you are, right? At the end of the day, they're like doing all these mental gymnastics, right? This bill, this passed, this
Yeah.
war, we're gonna give money to XYZ, we're not gonna give money, or we're gonna demote this.
Who cares?
Who cares? Like, because and Bitcoin fixes all this one because if you
Mm.
the money is broken, it's the money you fix the world, right? And it just literally holds everyone accountable. And we're
Mm-hmm.
not just playing these games of like, not and I'm not trying to knock your profession. I think every job is important. You have to do what you have to do to provide for your family. But I do think knowing what it is that you're trading your time for every day is very important. And so, and
Mm.
where to store it, right? Your time and energy is like you make money and you leave your family, and where are you storing it, after? And so we store it and save in Bitcoin. And I think
The future
the
is.
future is. Again, you have to do your own research, and hopefully you can learn with us on this journey, because it's just something that's, I think, very important, right? Why are people working multiple jobs, right? And they still can't get ahead. But in the past, one person can work and make an income and like support their family, have a new car, buy a house, etc., right? And have kids, which is the foundation I think that we're all supposed to be in. Again, these are my beliefs. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to believe them, but I do think that we like the family is like kind of just being torn apart by, starting with jobs. The dollar lost so much value. Now the other spouse has to go to work now. Right. And they don't talk about that, but that's kind of really what it is, right? Because like you can't afford things anymore with one income. So now another person has to go to work to go
So
chase
true.
this dollar.
Yeah.
And now in 2025, I having this conversation on Twitter today. It was on now in 2025, people are like working multiple jobs or having side hustles, and they're just trying to get by. Like,
Somehow get ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they don't understand, like, they're not, it's gonna be very difficult to get ahead because your dollar is being debased, right? And so it's being devalued, and so,
Yeah.
like, it's being worth less, right? And to make it even easier and, like, dumb it down, because I'm like, for me, like, I want to explain this like a 5-year-old can, understand it, because that's how I understand things. And so if you bought $100 of groceries back in 2020, right? That $100 of groceries is gonna get you a lot less now in 2025. Like that's just plain and simple. And it doesn't take a lot of like critical thinking. That $100 is not gonna take you as far in 2025 in groceries, right? And so if that's happening in 2025, what's it gonna look like in 2030, right? In 2035 and so on.
Do you think it'll get worse?
I think it's gonna get worse. I think it's gonna get worse, and people are not going to, and they're gonna just be like, look around, like, what happened? Like, how did this happen? Like overnight? Because in a 5 years, 5 years goes by really fast, right?
Su-
It was just, it
We
was just
just
2020, right?
yeah, we had
It
a
was
we
just
had we had a baby in
now she's 5 and
5,
she's
yeah.
telling me no, right? So yes, time's gonna go by regardless, right? So you have to
Yeah.
you have to figure out an escape route. You have to figure out how to like get assets, hard assets, and so we'll be talking about one
Yeah.
of them because I think there is nothing better than that. Anything else that compares to it. And yeah, so that's kind of where like
Yeah.
my
And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
you're good. Don't
Uh
happen again.
I just to kind of put it in summary too, you can tell that it's something important for couples to talk about, because like there's so much that Anthony just unloaded that I was like, oh, didn't even think about that. Great, it's gonna get worse. It's just like those types of things. So if you are in a relationship just try your best to listen. I know everyone's like Anthony said, everyone has to work, everyone has to do all these jobs in order to feel like they're getting ahead, especially if you're like us and you live in California, Orange County, California,
Yeah,
where
like
it's really hard to get ahead. So
yeah, but I also want to add to that too, like, where you live matters a lot too,
true.
right? But this is just like, again, this is our story. So, like in 2012, I moved out here to do mortgages. Grew up in LA, Santa Clarita. Amazing place, by the
Mm.
way. Love Valencia, Santa Saugus.
Shout out.
Love you guys. But to me, Orange County was always like this light on the hill, right? It was always like, oh man, like Orange County, our growing up, they had like that show Laguna Beach, blah, 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 right? And, and then moving down here, it was always like that light on the hill for me. So then when I came here, everything was expensive. Everything was pricey. And now everything is just out of hand, right? It's just like every home is $1 million and fixer upper. And how does a young couple or anybody get started, right? And then there was a study that shows the other day I was reading, and I'm gonna get better at referencing everything. The average couple is buying their home, their first time home buyers at the age of 40, and that's like wild. And then again, we're putting this in perspective, like big picture, right? Where is that going to be at
Yeah.
in 2030 and 2035, which will be here tomorrow because time is flying. And so that's what I just wanted to touch on.
No, that's good. It's very true. Where you live has a lot of impact of
Hmm.
like on your money situation.
Yeah, and then throwing kids in there, right? That's another element, throwing in kids is such another element.
Yeah.
You're just, I feel like a quarterback. I'm like, hey, you stay here, you go there, you stay looking good, you're just all over the place, right? And you're just trying to
Yeah.
figure it out and just coordinate everything with your family. Yeah.
It,
Too, so
yeah.
there's a lot of stuff going on. It's live action. We love it. We wouldn't want it any other way. And we're just excited to go along this journey with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I hope you guys found some nuggets and value in what we just shared with you, because that's really why we're doing this, is to just add value of some sort to this community. But yeah, I just hope this helped you get to know us better, kind of hear our mindset and perspective on Bitcoin and money, and just how important it is to have those conversations with each other, and how important it is for us that we continue to have those conversations. I think it's really been helpful for me, and something that I want to be able to model to our kids and, and just other people, to show that it can be a healthy conversation. It doesn't always have to end up in a disagreement or frustration or things like that.
And then it can end in disagreement. I think like tough conversations need to be had for there to be progress, right?
Yeah,
And I just think like just having the conversation is a great start. And
totally.
Um,
Yeah,
and so having honest conversations about it is healthy. And, hopefully we'll be able to tackle that. You guys can learn with us. And I'm just so excited for this. This is going to be fun.
it is.
Like, I'm looking forward to it, doing this with you, doing this with our future guests, and anyone out there that wants to come along with us. It's going to be fun.
We're really excited. Yeah. So if you want more of the Lunas, please like and subscribe this podcast, and even share it with people that you feel like would find value in it. But yeah, in the meantime, stay curious, stay stacking, and we will see you on the moon.
Nice. Bye, guys.
Bye.